What am I going to do today? Well, I'm hopefully moving us into the light and out of the darkness. So for those of you that were at the earlier session, we talked about this, and so that's my aim in the next 20 minutes. So what would I like to do? I am fascinated with how we make this transformation, and that's really what I'm looking at. How do we take this idea that you've already heard my colleagues share, the goal of becoming more global, more international, how do we actually operationalize that at the departmental level, at the individual student level? And so for me, it's a matter of congruence. How do you take your university's mission and vision, align that with curriculum, and tie it all with these global and international themes? How do we do that? That to me is the $10 million question right now. So that it's not just superficial change, so that it is in fact transformative. That's my goal, and as dean, that's my job. That's my job. And so it's been a steep learning curve. In terms of context, Soka University is a private liberal arts university. We have 8 different departments at the undergraduate level, and other departments at the graduate level. And our mission, the reason I'm sharing this slide is that of our 3 founding principles, the first one actually captures the mission of the university. And it is, and has a focus on becoming the highest seat of learning for humanistic education. Okay, so at the university level, that's our mission. At the departmental level, and the department that I head up is the Faculty of International Liberal Arts. Planning for this particular faculty began over 15 years ago. So the planning was in place, and then it got derailed because the Faculty of Law emerged first, and then it came back on track about 7 years ago, the planning resurfaced, and then the proposal to the Ministry of Education was submitted in the spring of 2013, and I arrived here at Soka July 1st of 2013. So I came 9 months prior to us actually welcoming our first class. The mission, you'll see on the yellow box, that is the official mission for our department. The way I summarize that, and what I say to my students is, especially prospective high school students and parents, our job is to raise the next generation of global leaders. And that's the best way that I can put it. Now, I know that we all probably have different definitions of what it means to become a global leader. And as you'll see through this presentation, I'll give you some of that definition, how we begin to unpack. What does it mean to become a global leader? I am very clear with prospective students. If what you want to do is learn English, don't come to my department. You can learn English anywhere. That is not our objective. All of our courses are offered in English, and 90% of our students are domestic Japanese students. So they're coming to take courses in English. But I do not want students who are only there to learn English. You can do that anywhere. I want students who are ready to embark on a 4-year journey to absolutely transform how they view the world. That is my goal. So how do we do that? Well, this is a picture of our second class. We had 91 students admitted this year, April 1st. Last year, when we launched, we had 83 students. And what I would say to you is, yes, the majority are domestic Japanese students. In our proposal to the ministry, we have an allotment of 10 slots for international students. This year, our international students, 2 from Brazil, 2 from India, 2 from Malaysia, 2 from Korea, and 1 from the United States. Last year, it was a little different countries. After 4 years, once we get through this initial pilot phase with the Ministry of Education, we will be able to change the number of students that we admit, international students that we admit. But for now, we are locked into admitting only 10. So that's where we're at. In terms of our curriculum and where we are based, these are our 5 competencies. And yes, academic English is one of the competencies, but it is not the only one. It is, I think, incumbent upon me and the rest of our 16 faculty members that we begin to embrace all 5 of these competencies at equal level. Our students have to have those cross-cultural perspectives. They have to have a sense And this goes back to our university mission of having this global awareness for peace. That is the connection to humanistic education. And we do want critical thinkers. We want problem solvers, because you and I know that the jobs that our students are being prepared for now don't even exist. So how do we prepare them to launch into whatever those future jobs may be? Many questions about what is the value of a liberal arts education. So that's a great one, because then it's trying to offer parents and prospective students examples of those of us who came through a liberal arts tradition. And that's a tension, and you'll hear me talk about these tensions. Part of what I'd like to do in this presentation is share with you not only how we're structured, but also the main theme was, well, what type of leadership is needed? What have our lessons learned been? And what are we paying attention to as we move forward? So what is unique? What's unique about us and our FILA curriculum is that we're asking our students to be generalists and specialists. They come in and they are required to take foundational courses in these 3 discipline areas that you see on the screen. Students will have to take introduction classes in each one of these areas. Then in their 3rd year, they select one to go deeper into. So again, generalists and specialists. Their degree, however, will be in international liberal arts. It will not be in history or economics, international relations. It will be undergraduate degree in liberal arts. What else is unique about it is I've already mentioned to you that all of our courses are offered in English. Our study abroad begins freshman year, which is unusual here in Japan. It's unusual in many countries. After 1 semester at SOCA, we send our students away. So in fact, our first semester, our 4 months with our students is all about preparing them for study abroad. Not only in terms of a mindset, but in terms of academic preparation. We partner with 5 universities abroad, so our students, they don't select. They don't have a wide range of universities to select from. We give them 5 options, and they go to one of those 5, and they go away for 2 academic semesters. So our students are gone for a year. We have them for a semester, we send them away for a year, and then they return 2nd semester of sophomore year. We have just welcomed back 75% of our students who have been abroad for a year. I was at the airport a month ago welcoming one group of students from George Mason University. I was anxious to see them. I had been in Fairfax to see them in January, so I had seen them sort of midpoint. I was at the airport in May, ready to welcome them, and I'm waiting as they come through the customs gate. All of a sudden I see them, because they're all coming out together. I see them, but what I see are not the 20 students that I said goodbye to 9 months before. What I see are these 20 young people that look very American. They're walking American, they're dressed American. I mean, they carry themselves in a different way. And they are all speaking English. As they say goodbye to each other, some of the young men fist bump each other and say goodbye. I mean, just the physical change in their demeanor was quite striking. And since then, we've also had debriefing sessions with the students to begin to get a sense of what is the re-entry process like for them, right? So more about that. But anyway, they go study abroad for a year. And then our international faculty, we have 16 faculty members. Of those 16, 6 are domestic Japanese. They were already at Soka University. They transferred from their departments into the Faculty of International Liberal Arts, and 10 professors were hired from abroad. So we have 10 international faculty members and 6 domestic Japanese. So that's who our faculty is. Our philosophy is that we want to and need to create a living and learning community for our students. That first semester, they are discouraged from participating in any co-curricular activities, clubs, things like that. They just don't do it. They don't have the time, and we really have them immersed in those 4 months in this, what I call a living and learning community, both inside the classroom and outside the classroom. 60% of our students are in dormitories and 40% commute. Our goal when they return from study abroad is that their TOEFL IBT will be at 80. And right now we're still getting scores in. I'm going to say 70 to 80% of our students are there. And so they will be jumping back into courses then this fall. So this is one of the quotes that I pulled out, and I think it's apropos to what we've been talking about this morning and now with my colleagues this afternoon. In terms of the mindset that has to emerge, to me, one of the most important points here is that we have to consider a new form of leadership. Soka University is 43 years old. And as recently as last week, in a meeting with high-level administrators at the university, I heard, but Maria, we've done this for 43 years this way. We'd like to continue to do it the same way. And I thought, okay, however, if we're going to see any kind of change or have it supported university-wide, we have to begin to consider institutional change. It cannot just be departmental change. We cannot be siloed and exist in an insular silo if we're going to, in fact, achieve this goal of globalization. If we are raising the next generation of global leaders during those 4 years, they have to be in a university environment that supports that, not a departmental environment. And towards that end, I would posit we need a new form of leadership. However, I heard clearly this morning, as we try to emerge out of the darkness, that it's not easy, and it's going to take a tremendous amount of effort because of the tremendous amount of formality, rigidity that currently exists in many of our institutions. So in terms of leadership, what would I say to you after 24 months of living in Japan, 24 months of serving as dean, the first female dean at my university, and the first non-Japanese dean, and I was very happy this morning to meet a colleague who also bears those same two titles. So I belong to a club of one. I now have 2 people in my club, and I'm very excited about this. I am deeply interested and passionate in leadership. I want to understand, how does transformation happen? What will it require of each one of us? And I would say to you, each one of us is in a leadership position. When you're in your classroom, delivering your course to your students, you are in a leadership position. There's some students here. As students, you serve in a leadership position. Whatever your administrative role or function, you know you are in a leadership position. So what kind of mindset is required of us? These are 3 of the content areas that I want to share with you. I'm absolutely firm in the belief that integrity has to move the dial here, has to be one of those linchpins that we hold on to. And in this case, it's the integrity of the program. What we submitted to the ministry looks great on paper. Once we started operationalizing this new curriculum, oh my goodness, all of a sudden it was like, well, we need to make an exception about that because we can't do it quite that way, right? What was submitted was very pie in the sky, and how we stick to the integrity of what we are proposing to do takes leadership. To stand your ground, to pick your battles, and to be very clear on what cannot be released, what cannot be diminished, what cannot be excluded now that the going has gotten a little tougher. The other integrity piece for me here is the alignment of outcomes. We cannot think about globalization in terms of one class, one course that is delivered. We have to be thinking about how is there alignment amongst all of the courses that students take, and along with their study abroad experience. We also have international field work that our students will be doing. So how do we try to construct alignment, congruency across all of that? It should not just be, again, the silos. Well, these are the English professors and these are the English courses. And then here are basic seminar courses, and then here are content courses. There has to be a connection and integrity in how you keep that alignment solid. Innovation. We have to be doing things differently. So we propose team teaching. Before we received students 18 months ago, we talked about it at faculty meetings, we talked about it at faculty retreats, and then the year started. And all of a sudden, all the wonderful things we had talked about sort of went out the window, because team teaching is really difficult. And I would say to you, because I'm very transparent and I always just tell you what's going on, around team teaching we have actually regressed. We have regressed after one academic year. So it's going to take, I think, even more effort to get out of this entrenchment to really push forward. One other innovative concept is e-portfolios. What we're wanting to do is be able to link study abroad with first semester, with the last 2.5 years, with international fieldwork, with global workshops. These are all parts and pieces of the experience. So how might we do that? And how do you assess, right? Assessment's a big piece here. How do you assess these outcomes? And so we're exploring. We've actually launched a small pilot around e-portfolios, and students are beginning to upload their work. They have formed a community online via the e-portfolios, which I am very excited about. So that's a whole nother presentation, but that's one of our innovations. And then integration. When you have a majority of international faculty members in a department, the culture is going to change. It has to change. And we have just now gotten to the point where the resistance is starting to emerge. Last year, not all of our international faculty members were on board yet, and so it was still sort of majority minority, and but there's been a change now. So that's beginning to change the culture. It's beginning to create tensions. And what I would say to you is that the culture has to integrate. Just like we're asking our students to integrate and re-enter back after study abroad, I believe faculty members have to go through this reintegration process in order to really rise to their full capacity and potential. And that also necessitates a new cultural environment. How will our environment be different, especially with our students coming back who have a different mindset, who have a higher level of English, and who have different expectations? I believe that it will be the students returning from study abroad who are going to push the change in my department and hopefully throughout the university. You have to maintain a culture of transformation and stay true to your values. So this is from Jeff Weiner, one of his quotes on leadership. And this to me captures what it is that I am trying to do at Soka University. Create that understanding that we are in a culture of transformation. I would say that 1/3 of the folks are right there with me, shoulder to shoulder. 1/3 of the folks are kind of hiding and hoping that they won't be called on for anything of substance. And 1/3 of the folks are actively opposing me. That's how I would divide the group up. I mean, I'm not saying that everybody is holding hands and moving forward together. Not at all. Not at all. But I do have a small critical mass that's very supportive of innovation, very supportive of wanting to move forward. And I have a small critical mass, I'm going to be real honest, that boy, they're ready to dig a hole and push me in it, right? And then I've got this middle critical mass that says, just don't bother me. I hope she doesn't see me, right? These are all faculty members that I'm talking about, not students, faculty members. So anyway, how do we stay true to our values? How do we stay true to that vision? How do we stay true to our students? So, lessons learned. I've talked about all of these components, the vision, mission, faculty culture, student culture, that global mindset. And for each one of those, you'll see some more detailed items, which I've already touched on, but these are all important. And just being able to organize it this way has allowed me some traction, to build some traction within my department and at the university. And then to close, what leadership lessons have I learned? Well, first, let me just share 3 of our challenges. It has been difficult to have consensus around our definition of success. And I think the dialogue session, the special session just before lunch, where we talked about global higher ed, there was some discussion about this. I know what we wrote into the proposal to the ministry, but on campus, within my faculty, there is not a shared definition of success in terms of student outcomes. And that has been a challenge. We are creating a new culture, and it is very difficult. We ask our students to become cross-cultural, but we have to ask our faculty to also live this cross-cultural culture, and it's a challenge. And we also have had difficulty in developing an integrated model. At my university, and maybe at yours as well, there are a lot of silos. I teach this content area, leave me alone, I know how to do my job. And trying to get them to talk to them, and really work in an integrated fashion has been a challenge. We have also had successes. As I shared with you, our students are returning after 9 months abroad, and I am very excited because they are very excited, and I have seen transformation. And so now it's how, the question is, how do we continue to support them as they go forward? We've also seen new strategies, innovation around integration, and one of those new strategies, I just listed one example. We have launched a new research seminar. Again, 16 faculty members, different disciplines, different nationalities, and the question was, how can we create some unity here within the department? And so once a month now, we are featuring a research seminar where one of our faculty members presents their research so that they can begin to share with other colleagues, because they don't know what the other is doing. And so that's been one successful strategy. And then there has been cohesion within discipline. What do I mean by that? Our faculty members, we have 4 for each one of those discipline areas. So 4 faculty members for international relations and politics. Within that discipline, they are creating a cohesive body. They are team teaching, or will be team teaching this fall. And so that has been successful. And it's a start, but it falls short of what the bigger goal is, which is creating a new cultural environment within the department, and then having those changes reflect into the larger university. So those are my leadership lessons. Thank you so much.